Hello friends, hello YouTube, welcome to another video from yours truly. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Lexi. I'll put my Instagram up above, but I'm gonna make this intro very short and very sweet and say that I hope you guys enjoy this video because it's something that a lot of people request, a lot of you guys request to see workout footage from me. So you're gonna see in this video, you're gonna see a full back workout, and then I'm also going to talk on some of the biggest mistakes I see people making their training routines at the end of this video. So for now, enjoy the next footage. I'm going to do a voiceover and kind of explain my back workout in depth. If you enjoyed this video, if you try out the workout, tag me. I'd love to see it. But yeah, enjoy the rest of this video and hopefully you get a lot out of it. Okay, you guys, so this is footage from a full back workout that I did. So building a back is actually a really big focus of mine this improvement season, as it'll make the illusion of my upper body look bigger. But here I am starting with assisted pull-ups, my favorite thing to start back day with. I really find that these help to engage my back muscles, which sets me up for a pretty darn good workout. So now I am doing a variation of a lat pull down. I really like this attachment. Typically I'll do lat pull downs, but I did this attachment today and I really worked on engaging those lats and not ego lifting. So not lifting too heavy of weight where I was letting my traps take over. And then apologies on the lighting for this, but these are straight arm pull downs with the rope cable attachment, really focusing again on engaging my lats and using that mind muscle connection that I find is really important when you are working out the back muscles. So that's what you're seeing here. I really like this exercise a lot though. And then what you're gonna see here in a second is I went ahead and moved on to, I call this the T-bar row. This is a really cool machine that my gym has. And you could do this if you have like a landmine bar as well. But again, I'm really focusing on trying not to lift too heavy of weight to the point where my traps take over. Because I do find sometimes if I'm lifting too heavy with my back, my traps take over. So here you're gonna see a unilateral single arm row. So I do like to incorporate a unilateral, meaning one side at a time movement into my back workouts, just because it helps me to engage both sides of my back, evenly, and just prevents me from overcompensating with one side in the major movements that I am doing. So that is what you are seeing here. You could easily do this on a cable machine as well, seated or standing. You guys get the gist and the general range of motion of it. And then at the end of my workout, what you're going to see in these last two clips, and please disregard my face in this clip. I feel like I have the worst lifting face. It's kind of embarrassing, but whatever. I'm doing seated hammer curls. The reason I'm doing seated is because it keeps me from using my lower body to lift the weight. So this really helps me to isolate my biceps. And then the last movement I finished off with is going to be standing barbell bicep curls. So this was a standard back workout for me, and then I threw in a little bit of biceps at the end to end it off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this workout, and if you try it out, tag me. So I hope you guys enjoyed my back workout. Everybody's always asking me to post workout footage and workouts, and like I've explained it before in previous videos, but my workout time is really my me time, and sometimes the last thing I want to have to think about is filming, like setting up my phone and to film like each individual workout. But I did do my back workout because I was feeling it that day. I was like, the gym was a little emptier than usual, and I was just feeling it, so I wanted to film that workout for you guys. And I want to preface by saying, that is not I don't want you guys to think that's like the perfect back workout. That's just what I've been doing, and I feel very strongly that each individual is going to have different movements that they prefer over others for given body parts. So for example, like there are some movements for back that I just don't personally do because I don't find that I feel my back engaging that much throughout the exercise. But that doesn't mean it's a bad exercise. Maybe it works for somebody else, but it just doesn't work great for me, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So I wanted to take some time in this video to talk about the biggest mistakes I see people make when it comes to their training. So I have a list, and I'm gonna just run through them for you guys, and hopefully you get some good knowledge and from these mistakes, because I've been guilty of making them, and I feel like a lot of people make them, and sometimes it's not so obvious that it's an actual training mistake. So the first one, and possibly the biggest one, I've been guilty of this before back in my early days of training, is overtraining and not taking enough rest days and not taking enough rest from the gym. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be that person in high school when I started weight training. I remember my dad and I would always talk about, like, he was the same way. He would never take rest days, nor would I. And it was almost like I would pride myself off of that, when now I think back to it, I'm like, Lexi, that's not something to like be proud of. And I think some people, like, it's an ego booster. They're like, oh, no days off. And I'm like, no, you're actually doing a disservice to yourself, because as counterintuitive as it sounds, where your muscles are actually rebuilding and growing is when you're resting. So if you're somebody who's never taking rest days, or let's just say you're not taking enough rest for your body, you're not going to be properly putting on muscle. So you're in fact doing yourself a disservice if you're training all the time and not giving yourself enough rest. I know that sometimes it seems like more is better, but it's not when it comes to training. I always say you have to train smarter, which doesn't always equate to training harder. So that's probably the biggest mistake I see people make. I'll be very honest. I very, very rarely will put my clients on a 6-day weight training split, because even 6 days of a really heavy, intensive weight training, 6 days a week, that's very hard for the body to recover from. I'd much rather have my clients training 5 days a week, having 100% amazing workouts, rather than training 6 days a week, maybe only having like, you know, a subpar workout and not really optimizing muscle growth. So I'll be honest, like I said, I very rarely have people training 6 days a week, because even that tends to be a lot. And it tends to be hard for the body to recover from that. So that is the biggest training mistake I see being made, probably the biggest one in general. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is rest during your actual workout. So rest periods. So this is going to be very goal dependent, and I don't want to sit here bashing like boot camps or circuit style workouts, because, you know, some people really thrive on those, and that is okay. But I'm speaking more so right now to the individual like myself who is a bodybuilder or who is looking to put on lean body mass, aka muscle. One of the biggest mistakes I see people take is not actually taking proper rest periods in between the exercises of their lifts. So if you're wanting to actually put on muscle, you really need to take your rest periods in between the exercises seriously. So what I mean by that, and this is another one I was guilty of back in the day, is I would do like supersets all the time, or what I do is I do like I'd lift, and then in between while I was resting, I would do like a cardio exercise. Like I do like jump squats, or I do box jumps or something. And of course that's, you know, that training style works for some people, but I'm just saying, if you want to optimize the muscle that you're putting on, you definitely should not be doing that stuff while you're quote unquote resting. And here's why. Let's say, you know, you're looking to build muscle. You know, you want to be optimizing and maximizing the weight you're lifting every set, right, in a safe manner. So let's just say you've got 5 sets of squats on the agenda for a workout. Well, if you do a set of squats and then in between your rest, you're doing like box jumps or jump squats, you probably are not going to expect to go into that next set feeling feeling strong. And what you want to do is, if you're trying to build muscle, you know, ideally each set you want to try to either match the reps or the weight that you did previously, or increase, right? So it's really hard to do that when you're not taking adequate rest. So, you know, you definitely don't want to be lollygagging and losing track of time in between your rest periods, but you also don't want to be cutting them short, because if you're going into each set just feeling more and more tired, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice when it comes to you know, increasing your strength and also putting on and optimizing lean body mass, right? So that is going to be the second biggest mistake I see people making when they're training. Another mistake I want to discuss is what I like to call ego lifting. So I see a lot of people out there that do what I like to call ego lifting. And again, another thing I've been guilty of in the past too. And what I mean by this is, a lot of times, you know, we are capable of lifting a really heavy load, but that doesn't mean our form is 100%, and that does not mean we're actually feeling it in the muscle that should be worked. So for example, I'll use hip thrusts. For me, I can lift a lot of weight when it comes to hip thrusts. However, sometimes when I'm lifting too heavy of weight, 2 things happen. My form suffers, and I don't actually feel it in my glutes. I'll feel it in like all my hamstrings and sometimes my quads. So what happens is, that happens to a lot of people with most exercises. You may be capable of actually lifting a lot of weight, but ask yourself, is the weight compromising your form? Because if you're compromising your form just to lift a heavy amount of weight, that's also really going to stall, or that's gonna, you know, run the risk of you injuring yourself. But also sometimes when we're lifting so heavy, we don't actually feel it in the muscle that we should. We'll actually overcompensate with other muscle groups. So I see that mistake being made a lot, and it's kind of what I like to call ego lifting, so to say. So that's mistake number 3 that I see people making when it comes to their training. Okay, so number 4 is going to be quality over quantity, or I guess I could say the mistake I see being made is prioritizing quantity over quality. And again, like I've made this mistake before myself. Back in the day when I first started lifting, I always thought doing more was better. Kind of same concept as more days in the gym, like less rest days is better. Same concept when it comes to quality over quantity. And what I mean by that is if you're going into the gym and let's say you have 12 plus exercises per workout, you have to ask yourself, are you really like able to give 100% to all of those exercises before getting tired? So I look at it this way. I'd much rather be doing 6 exercises, but the quality is 100% over doing, let's say 10 exercises and the quality of each of those exercises only being 70%. Now, again, if your training style is like circuit style and you are doing a lot of different exercises and that works for you, that's fine. But I'm speaking more so for somebody who is really wanting to optimize their muscle mass and either put on muscle or retain the muscle that they have in a fat loss phase particularly. It's going to be very important that you're not always just striving for quantity over quality. I know I'll have some workouts sometimes where it's maybe only 5 lifts, but I'm like, crap, like that was a great workout because I was really able to give my 100% to every movement. Whereas sometimes if I do workouts with too much volume, and let's say I have like 12 plus exercises in one workout, I feel like every exercise I'm only able to give like 60-70%, and it's just kind of an workout, right? So don't underestimate, a workout that maybe only has 5 exercises as opposed to 12 plus, right? Of course, I know some people in their plans, they'll have like volume days built into their training split, and that's another scenario. But if that's what you're always constantly doing, you're always just doing so much volume, that's just not going to be optimal when it comes to increasing your strength and improving your strength and also putting on adequate muscle mass. Okay, so the last biggest mistake I see people making in the gym, and again, I've been guilty of all of these, and this is one of them, is changing up your training too frequently. So oftentimes I will hear people say they get bored and they have to do different workouts every time they go into the gym. And, to be honest, again, if that works for you and, your goal is not really to put on muscle, you're just kind of going to the gym for fun, that's one thing. But if you're really looking to optimize and maximize your potential to put on muscle and lean body mass, it's very important that you stick with a specific training regimen for a good amount of time. And when I say good amount of time, this time is going to depend. I would say roughly around like 5 to 10 weeks is how long you want to stick on a training program. And what you should be doing is, and this is what I do for my clients and what I particularly do for myself since I write my own training, is I will write out my 5 workouts for the week, and then I repeat those same workouts every week for usually at least 6 weeks. And what I do is every week when I'm repeating the workout, I ask myself, or I look at my logbook to see what I lifted last week for that workout for each exercise. And what I try to do each week is I try to, pick a couple exercises or maybe all of them and try to add a little bit of weight compared to what I had lifted the week before. And that's that progressive overload principle. So, I know that sometimes people, they say, oh, I'm so bored, I have to do like different workouts every time. But, if you want to put on muscle, it's not always glamorous. That's not always like the frou-frou, like crazy quirky workouts that are going to do that for you. I think it's really important to practice that progressive overload principle. Maybe if you're not super turned on by that and that sounds really boring, maybe as an incentive, go to the store, get a really cute journal, make it your logbook, and then start keeping track each week of the weight you're lifting for each of the exercises that you're doing, and then have that to look back to and reference each week when you're repeating that workout, so that way you can improve upon said lifts, so to say. So those are going to be my 5 biggest mistakes I see people making when it comes to their training. And again, those are not going to necessarily apply to everybody, but they do apply to the individual who is looking to put on muscle, or specifically, I know I have a lot of competitors watching this channel, so that's all of these are definitely going to apply to you. So if I could leave you with one thing, it's all about working smarter, which doesn't always equate to working harder or grinding yourself to the ground. So I'm gonna wrap up this video here, and I hope you guys enjoyed the content of this video. I hope you enjoyed the back workout. I hope you enjoyed these little tips at the end. And if you like this style of video, give it a thumbs up and comment below. I'm always happy to do more styles like this. So comment below if you guys liked this. And as always, thank you for watching if you've made it this far. I will catch you guys in the next video.